I even learned that you should apply the alcohol to a gauze pad first and then wipe the blood. After that, everything was whoosh, a blur. As quickly as we could, we prepared for battle. Marched to the Fushimi Magistrate's office. There was a lot of fucking people at the Kyoto
Jujitsu. Those jujitsu bitches, oh.
Judiciary commissioners, man. A lot, yeah. I'm sorry. Can I start over? Just start the recording over. Just quit. There was a number of the Kyoto Judiciary Commissioner's men gathered there as well, in preparation for a battle with the Choshu.
Yeah.
Woo. Walking proudly in front of the men, Kondo approached the government official near the gate.
Uh-oh. Oh, we've got too confident.
Katamori Matsudaira was the lord of the ice. Did I get all those syllables right?
I don't know.
Anyways, that guy was the lord of the Aizu domain and also the Kyoto military commissioner, which made him a very important person. His name would have been immediately recognized. The man standing near the gate looked slightly taken aback by the mention of the Shinsengumi.
You were told to report him, but like, I didn't get any of these orders, man.
No, that didn't make any sense.
What?
Perhaps sensing my confusion, Saito leaned over and whispered under his breath.
Somebody's getting fired. Do you mean that the Choshu is overpowering the shogunate's forces? No way. This could be tricky.
Yeah, it's tricky. The Judiciary Commissioner and the Military Commissioner had similar organizations, but they operate very differently.
Here's a rap about how that goes.
The Military Commissioner's office was under the jurisdiction of the Aizu domain, while the Kuwana Kome...
Nope, we fucked it up. Throw it in the trash.
Kuwana domain controlled the Judiciary Commissioner. I didn't fully understand the relationship between each domain, but so far as I knew, the Aizu and the Kuwana weren't quite fond of one another. Ara.
It wouldn't make any difference, man. Just go. We don't got any use for Meeba's wolves.
How terrible.
Oh my god.
After they'd asked for the Shinsegumi's help, I felt Harada's hand on my shoulder and turned to look up at him.
Nah, let me go. Let me get him, man. But this is bullshit.
I wasn't truly a member of the Shinsengumi, but even so, after living with the Shinsengumi men and watching how they worked, I couldn't bear to see how they were treated, which is why this felt wrong to me.
Everyone at the Shinsengumi has like worked so hard to maintain peace in Kyoto. I don't appreciate you. How can these people who are like supposed to be our allies just turn us away without us like a thought? What the fuck?
だがここはこらえてくれ。俺らが諸次第に対して下手に騒げば、合図の顔を潰しちまうかもしれないしな。
The Kuwana would only need to complain that the Shinsengumi hadn't showed them proper respect to make trouble for the Aizu. All of the men, including Harada, understood what needed to be done, and they endured.
Whoa.
局長、諸次第では話になりません。奉行所を離れ、会津藩と合流してはいかがでしょうか。
Saito's suggestion was Kondo.
Nope.
God, fuck. Saito's suggestion to Kondo was rudely interrupted by Takeda. Who?
ここを離れるだと。戦場で
The hot
軍令を
bad
無視して
man.
何とする
That's
つもり
who?
だ。局長、戦場では伝令が交錯するものです。
We're just gonna go
自ら
around.
動くなど愚の骨
Like the
頂。
back door.
今はこの場で待機すべきものと考えます。
ここが我らに与えられた陣ならば、その話わからんでもない。だが今は我が新選組の身体に関わる問題でもある。
君は
We need a seat.
新選組の戦奉行であるこの私に向かって
Yeah.
いや、斉藤君の言うことにも一理ある。
Yeah.
Kondo nodded deeply as he glanced at Saito.
我が新選組はこれより守護職が設営している陣を探す。
And with that, the Shinsengumi set off to find the soldiers of the Aizu domain. Night had fallen
And now we're lost.
by the time we arrived at Kujo Beach. After leaving the Fushimi magistrate's office, we made for the Aizu Manor. Upon arriving, we relayed our previous encounter and asked for new orders. Did you fucking move your coffee away from me? The manor official we met with directed us to the Kujo Beach, which we did. However,
新選組が我々会津
What? The Shinsengumi is gonna join us?
そんな連絡
We received no such order. I apologize, but you gotta speak with the commander, man.
we just did. Nagakura seemed to tolerate no more of this.
あ？お前らんとこの反対が新選組は九条河原へ行けって言ったんだよ。その俺らを適当に扱うってのは新選組を呼びつけたお前らの上司をないがしろにする行為だって分かってんのか？
Oh shit, please calm down. I mean, I didn't know what you.
The man flinched and shivered, then fell silent. Kondo did his best to assume a professional air, but there was no hiding his massive grin.
陣営の責任者と話がしたい。上に取り継いでいただけますか。
This is why I don't rap.
Oh boy.
At last, after a great deal of trouble, we were allowed to remain with the troops at Kujo Beach.
What's really getting me now, though, are the hand movements.
I just remember this specific, video someone did of, describing the way his dad, when he was a kid, tried to explain his divorce with his mom, but kind of like a Hamilton or, speech, but with Eminem's voice, you know?
Incredible.
It's pretty great. And they did a lot of hand motions. Did I read this one?
I don't think you did. I don't know.
The chief and the commanders left the rest of us to speak with the Aizu commanders. They returned sometime later, looking tired and drained. Inoue, who had gone with them, also wore a bitter sort of half smile.
Clearly, they all had to listen to this.
どうやらここの会津藩の兵たちは主戦力じゃなくただの予備兵らしい。会津藩の主だった兵たちは浜栗御門の方を守っているそうだ。
They're treating the Shinsengumi like reserves.
屯所に来た伝令の話じゃ。
What do they think we are? Their side bitch?
状況が動き次第、即座に戦場へ馳せる。今、
Oops. So all we can do is wait.
There was a chance that the call could come at night, so the men stayed awake, ready to act.
休むなら言えよ。俺の
Jesus
膝くらいな
Christ.
ら貸してやる。
Bye. Goodbye. I'm leaving. Bye.
The man laughed, and I shook my head. It wouldn't be fair for me to be the one to sleep. The men had to remain alert, anticipating that they could face death at any moment. Anxiety wrapped around me until I slept near dawn.
There we go.
That one's better.
Yeah.
What was wrong with
No,
the other
please.
one? No, it's okay. We're here to give constructive criticism. What was wrong with the
Because
other one?
this one's more intense. It feels fitting.
Good answer. I feel like you're just avoiding my question, though.
What? No, I answered your question. It felt appropriate.
The men, however, were vigilant through the night.
Yeah.
Even as I drifted in and out of consciousness, I could see them nearby, persisting against the night. The break of dawn burned my eyes as I heard it.
Oh!
Burp, burp.
A cannon!
The crack of a gunshot tore through the morning air, and in the distance I heard men shouting at the clanging metal. The fighting had begun. The captains looked at one another and nodded.
Smooth. Yeah.
I stared at him for a moment, perhaps not yet fully awake, until I understood what he was saying.
Oh shit, yeah, you got it.
With a quick nod, I readied myself to go. Then,
Stop! What do you think you're doing? We were ordered to stay here.
待てだ。
Uh-oh.
even during our lengthy march the day before, I'd never seen Hichikata mad. Maybe because of his position as commander, he was afraid to express himself when his temper flared up, but it looked as he reached his limit. Normally he left yelling to Nagakura, even though he yelled at us all the time, but whatever.
Well, he doesn't yell at other people though. He only yells at us.
Anyways, he was always patient with army officials. This time, however, he had finally had enough.
That's what lack of sleep will do to you.
てめえらは待機するために待機してんのか。御所を守るために待機してたんじゃねえのか。長州の野郎どもが攻め込んできたら援軍に行くための待機だろうが。
But my butt's not that big, and we haven't received any orders.
Hijikata was in no mood for excuses.
自分の仕事に一かけらでも誇りがあるなら、てめえらも待機だうんぬん言わずに動きやがれ。
Without even waiting for a response, Hijikata spun around and stalked off, fuming.
Oh wait, where are we going?
I didn't raise my voice above a whisper. Where are we going? But I asked Saito, who was walking near me.
敵が確実にいる場所。ハマグリ顧問を目指す。
Hamaguri Gate. You mean where Aizu's main force is protecting, right?
ハマグリ顧問では激しい戦闘が始まっているだろう。あんたも今のうちに気を引き締めておけ。
You got it.
Hijikata's fury seemed to rouse the Aizu's reserve, who up to this point seemed flustered by the threat of conflict, watching the Shin Sengumi march. At the end, they followed the Shinsengumi to the Hamaguri Gate. Before long, we'd arrived.
Oh my gosh.
The gate was fucking pockmarked. So many goddamn bullets, and everyone fucking dead. Yeah, it's fucking stinking out here with these firearms.
Oh, stinky.
Even though I tried to prepare myself mentally for what lay before me, my heart was shattered from the traces of war. What is it good for?
Oh.
Absolutely nothing. The enemy, however, was nowhere to be seen. We had arrived too late, the battle already over. See these bullet holes. After a moment of stunned silence, several of our men were dispatched by Hijikata to determine what happened, and then Kondo sighed.
しかし天使様の御所に討ち入るなど
やっていることがよくわからんね。長州は尊王派のはずなんだがな。
Kondo simply nodded. The Choshu defined themselves as among those who revered the Emperor, yet they attack his home? This ain't making no sense. Nevertheless, the damage was done. We're never ever getting back together.
What?
I was in the middle of pondering their reasons when Saito returned to me.
夜半から朝方にかけてハマグリ御門へ押しかけた長州勢は会津と薩摩の兵力により退けられた模様。
The forces standing against them were too much for the Choshu, and they were forced to retreat. The corner of Hichikata's mouth curled into a grin.
薩摩が会津の手助けか。世の中変われば変わるもんだな。あんなに仲が悪かったはずなのに。いや、長州が共通の敵となっただけか。
The Satsuma and Aizu domains hadn't been on the best of terms. I thought that they were outsmarted.
Nope. Other way.
I thought that they outsmarted the family domain and allied with the imperial court to expel foreigners. However, I recall my father telling me that they were not much different than the Choshu. Unlike the Choshu, however, they had gone to war with the foreign force and suffered a devastating loss.
Suffer.
Following their defeat, I learned that the Satsuma began to reconsider their nationalistic stance. However, these were only rumors, and what had come to pass had yet to be fully determined.
土方さん、公家御門の方にはまだ長州の奴らが残ってるらしいぜ。
Hijikata's expression changed as he considers Harada's words, but before he could open his mouth to speak, Naruto appeared.
God dang it.
今回の御所襲撃の中心人物らが天王山に撤退しているそうです。
Mount Tenno was located between Kyoto and Osaka. Supposedly, they're in the middle. Sorry, I thought...
And that's geography, everybody. Boom.
I literally thought it was... Oh. I just wanted to let that pass.
Yeah. The outside noises are loud.
Supposedly, they're in the middle of escaping from Fushimi towards Osaka. After hearing laughter at my words, I feel so touched. But the report from Harada and Yamanaruto Hichikata contemplated deeply. Although Kondo was recognized as the formal head of the Shinsengumi, I had learned from everyone that all major decisions were deferred to Hichikata.
Wow. So cool.
This was no exception. I could see that all eyes were on him. He was silent for a few moments, and then I saw his mouth curve into a small smile.
Wow.
てめえら、今から忙しくなるぞ。原田、隊を率いて公家御門へ向かい、長州の残党どもを追い返せ。
あいよ。
斎藤と山崎は状況の確認を頼む。当初の予定通り、この浜栗御門の守備に当たれ。
承知。はい。
それから大将、あんたには大仕事がある。手間だろうが、会津の上層部に掛け合って、追討の許可をもらってきてくれ。
長州軍の追討だな。
天王山に向かった奴ら以外にも敗山兵は商家に押し狩りしながら落ち延びるんだろうが、追討するなら俺らも京を離れることになる。その許可をもらいに行けるのは
The Shinsengumi were entrusted with the protection of Kyoto, and if this was aiding the Aizu, then they had to do more than just guard the fucking gate. Leaving our post, however, to chase after the Chosu troops meant that we needed permission from the military commissioner, meaning the Aizu.
Wow.
局長である俺が行けばきっと守護職も取り合ってくれるだろ
After what we'd gone through the day before, I didn't imagine Kondo's task would be an easy one. Still, if the representative was anyone other than Kondo, the Aizu would be unlikely to grant the request, let alone entertain the notion of a meeting.
源さんも守護職邸に行く近藤さんと同行して大将が暴走しないように見張っておいてくれ。
はいよ、任されました。
Another laugh ran through the soldiers, and Kondo's mouth twisted into a wry sort of grin. Perhaps he chose not to deny it because he knew he might go a little crazy.
What the shit?
残りの者は俺と共に天王山へ向かう。それから。
He looked at me. Oh God, I was not a warrior, and I don't got no political ties. So yeah, kind of useless again. Suddenly, I am aware. I'm aware.
お前は好きな場所に同行しろ。だが、近藤さんについていくのはなしだ。
All right.
Kondo was meeting with the leaders of the Aizu. If I joined him, there's literally nothing, literally. I had many options for what I could do. Hijikata would be pursuing the leaders of the Choshu attack towards Tenno Mountain. Saito would be staying at Hamaguri Gate to protect it and gather information. Harada and his men would be going to the Kuge Gate and stop the attack on the Imperial Estate. The question was, where the fuck do I go?
I wonder.
I fucking am staying here with Saito. Before long, the rest of the Shinsengumi were gone, and it's time for us to begin our own mission.
Of romance.
Yeah. In all the excitement, I completely forgot that the Shinsengumi were fucking ordered to stay with the reserves. So how awkward. Instead, we marched into battle, and Saito's probably right to try to smooth things over with the Aizu as soon as like possible. What a pollution.
Oh, what?
What? A salesman.
What? A polyp?
What a diffuser.
わかった。会津藩の対応は山崎に一任する。問題。
Oops.
Yamazaki bowed once, then turned on his heel and disappeared. I thought that said turned on his beef.
Gotta turn on your beef sometimes. It's very important.
The area near Hamaguri Gate was filled with warriors. Dead ones.
Uh-oh.
I could see some of the men from the Aizu domain and perhaps some men from Satsuma as well. They appeared to be arguing over something. We'd been looking around the area to get the lay of the land when we sensed something unpleasant, went to investigate. I mean...
You don't want something unpleasant investigating. Wow.
Good cry. That was when we found the confrontation between the Aizu and the Satsuma.
What are they even arguing about? Pfft, losers. I was right. Losers. What?
What?
Huh?
Loser.
Oh.
The words were barely out of my mouth when one of the Satsuma men noticed us.
God damn it. Huh. Actually, should I do this one? Yeah. What voice should I give this guy?
Mickey Mouse.
Wait a minute. Is this the Shinsengumi? Really? You know they're a bunch of filthy peasants, right? Hear that, boys? The eyes were too scared to fight with Mickey Mouse. What?
I could see the faces of the Shinsengumi stiffen, and more than one hand move towards a sword. Saito, however, was as implacable as ever. He swept his cool case slowly over the men, looking each man in the eye. Did he look me in the eye too? They shifted restlessly, but their hands dropped from their swords.
Satsuma, you son of a bitch! How dare you mock us, Aizu?
His face was bright red, and his sword shook as he held it at the ready. If something wasn't done soon, that sword was gonna start spilling blood. Oh my god, what are you doing here? Before anyone from the Satsuma could respond, a tall man stepped through them and out into the space between the two factions.
What? You'll face me? Taste my steel!
With a yell, the soldier threw himself forward, raising his sword to anticipate a deadly cut. Saito dashed forward, almost too fast to see, and stopped before charging the man. Sorry, I read that wrong again.
池田屋では迷惑をかけましたな。確か東堂という名の青年にお相手いただきましたが、怪我の治りが良くないのであれば、加減ができずに済まなかったと。
I forgot how weirdly polite this guy was.
Remember when he just let us go?
Right. It's like, sorry guys.
池田屋で平助を倒したのはあんたか。なる。
Oops.
If Saito had heard the man's apology, he didn't even, like, say thanks. I mean, I guess. Gotta keep your fucking honor, whatever.
Oh shit, look how fucking angry our boy looks.
Wow. Simply shrugged and tilted his head to the side, almost quizzically. Oh my god, and now we're taking a step towards him. Oh my god. The tip of Saito's sword was only a hair's breadth from the man's forehead. He drew it so fast I saw no blur of silver as it left the scabbard.
And yet, what was that weird cutscene thing that looked like a blur of silver?
Unperturbed, the man glanced down at Saito.
あんたは新選組にあだをなした。俺から見れば平助の仇ということになる。
しかし、今の私には君たち新選組と戦う理由がありません。
He replied as calmly as if they had been enjoying tea together. Saito said nothing and his sword did not move. Was Saito really that angry?
More feelings? Wow!
I could certainly see why he would have been, but this was not the time to settle grudges. Still, he was a tough man to read. What do I do?
Obviously, we gotta trust our boy, man. Also, it's so rude how we keep being repeatedly like, he has a feelings? Whoa!
Saito was also well aware of his duties, and was not the sort of man to allow emotion to compromise his decisions, as shown by his ordering of his men. Telling them to stand down after being grievously insulted. I didn't know what it was, but he had a plan. He must have somehow sensed my decision, because for a moment his eyes flickered to me, and he smiled. Ah, wow.
Whoa, it's like we're connected. It's fucking shit.
I was just giving you a warning. The tall man from the Satsuma nodded deeply.
こちらが浅はかな言動をしたことは事実。この場にいる薩摩藩を代表して謝罪しよう。
Saito returned the man's nod and slid his sword back into its scabbard. The Satsuma men seemed displeased with how things turned out, but whoever the tall man was, none of them dared to speak out against him. Now I understood what Saito had intended to do. By forcing the Satsuma to apologize, he had allowed the Aizu to save face. By directly confronting the issue, he had been able to avoid any bloodshed.
Wow.
Period. Because the Satsuma man understood his intentions, he apologized. Regardless, I couldn't help but sigh, relieved that we avoided another pointless fight.
Another pointless fight, she says.
Wow.
Incredible.
そちらが引いてくれたことに感謝する。
He bowed deeply.
私は天霧久寿と申す者。次には見えるとき、互いが協力関係にあ
This
る
man
こ
is
とを
trying to see
祈
who
る。
pays him the most. His introduction finished, he turned and walked slowly back through the ranks of the Satsuma, towering above them as he went.
How much fucking taller is this guy than everybody?
7 feet tall.
Holy fuck. Saito, you never intended to fight him, did you?
We know you. There was a short silence. Saito looked coiled inside himself, staring in the direction Amagiri walked towards before speaking.
居合で脅せば容易に引くかと思っていたが、あの者には俺の剣筋が読めていたようだな。
Wait, what?
So that's me. Saito practiced E-I-E-I-O. Sorry. A sword style that focused on drawing a blade and striking with a single force, as if we hadn't talked about this before. Amagiri made no attempt to dodge his blow, though. It's crazy. How could he have known that Saito intended to stop just before the blow landed?
薩摩にも厄介な相手がいるようだ。話の通じる点は救いかもしれんが。
I wasn't sure if Saito was like talking to me or himself, and before I could ask, he just fucking walked away.
Wait a minute.
Our moment
Hey.
was gone. We returned to the Hamaguri gate to await Yamazaki's return, but there was like nothing else to do.
Yeah, because my bitch just fucking walked away from me. Sheesh.
After the incident, there was no battles, however, the tension remained unabated. Was it possible for the Satsuma and Aizu to find a common ground and coexist peacefully? Or will they forever be caught between them like Romeo and Juliet? Oh, it seemed like imagining such
Find out next time.
such a world would be an impossible dream. The Choshu extremists' attempted attack on the imperial estate eventually came to be known as the Hamaguri Rebellion. Although the Shinsengumi were called the said action, their efforts were fucking stymied. And they were not getting any glory. Communication with their superiors was poor at best, and they spent much of their battle waiting with the reserves. When the Shinsengumi finally entered the battle, each man found several strange opponents awaiting him. Chikage Kazuma, who defeated Okita Ikeda, claiming to be from the Satsuma domain during his encounter with Hijikata. Kyuju Amagiri, the man who shattered Heisuke's head guard at Ikeda, also claimed membership in the Satsuma. That fucking bitch-ass Kyo Shiranui, who fought alongside his men, the men from Choshu. Whoever they were, it was clear they were not allies of the Shinsengumi. Indeed, it seemed they could easily become part of its greatest enemies. If they were met in open battle, the casualties would be severe. By the time the battle was over, the commanders of the Choshu attack had been killed in the fighting, or they fucking ran away to heaven. Or should I say, to hell.
What the fuck?
There were some soldiers, however, who escaped, settling Kyoto ablaze. Setting.
I mean, some people's versions of settling is, you know, burning that
Ablaze
shit.
as they fled. By some terrible misfortune, winds that day blew from the north and fanned the flames, reducing the southern end of the imperial estate to ash. As a result of the Choshu attack, many imperial nationalists were executed. Oop. With the Hamaguri rebellion over, the Choshu were branded as traitors for attacking the estate. From then on, they were acknowledged enemies of the court. Boom, boom.
Bum, bum.